The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and he missed the pit complete. That is crazy stuff.
Outside Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and he missed the pit complete. That is crazy stuff.
Outside Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and he missed the pit complete. That is crazy stuff.
Outside Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Welcome to our weekly broadcast of the GreenValleyLake.com MX-5 World Tour. This is season 7 and we are at round number 6 of the series, and we are bringing it to you live from Brands Hatch in Kent, England. Hi, I'm Richard Losper, and with me today we've got Brian Corwin and Bill Zahn. Hi Brian.
How's it going, Richard? It's good to be back.
Yes, it sure is. Hi Bill.
Hi, Richard. Feeling better?
Yeah, I was a bit low last week, but it's all good now. And just a reminder, our director is the absolute stream master, Giancarlo Lenzi. So Brian, let's talk about the track a little bit. Tell us about this Brands Hatch iconic track, former home to the British Grand Prix, and you know, it's a favorite of drivers and fans alike.
Yeah, it's no doubt a very historic track. It got some of the most crazy bends and hills and elevation changes in all of motorsports racing, featuring off-camber kind of turns. You got kinks that lead into blind corners, and it's very tricky to overtake with such a narrow racing surface. The track is about 30 miles southeast of London. It's 2.301 miles long. For those who do kilometers, it's 3.703 kilometers long. It has only 9 turns, but all of them are even more challenging than the last, and it's a very high-speed track, especially at a turn 1 with a big hill going downwards to the hairpin. And then the grass verges, or particularly at turns 1 and 3, are friendly to the driver because they can almost use it on track out. However, if you go too far, you won't have the traction and the ability to stop, which will be very problematic here with the MX-5.
Yeah, I have to say, Brian, I absolutely love this track. The elevation changes, you know, the high-speed bends. I don't know. It's one of those tracks that you either love or you hate. But
well,
hey,
Richard, sorry to interrupt. I'm just gonna say I will have to agree to disagree on that one. I loathe this track a great deal. Anyways, back to your point.
Righto. All right, well, I was going to say that why listen to us? Let's have a look at a lap guide, and we will show you around the track and exactly what Brian and I are talking about. So, Giancarlo, if you could play the lap guide for us.
All right, let's do a lap around the Grand Prix circuit of Brands Hatch with Giancarlo Lenzi behind the wheel of the GSRC MX-5. Paddock Hill Bend is up first. This infamous right-hander just drops away from you. And then you hit the bottom of the hill and the grip comes back and it's right back up into Druids. This uphill means you can brake very, very late, but you want to square off this 180-degree turn and then plunge right back down the hill, and it's into Graham Hill Bend. There's going to be a lot of runoff at the end of this left-hander. You got to use all of it if you want to get a fast lap. Get the car straightened out, and then it's a short straight on into Surtees. Left-hander once again, but this time very late apex, and it's uphill. Not only that, but it leads onto the backstretch here. Just look at how long you're going uphill. So if you get on the power too late, you're going to just lose so much speed going through here. On over the crest and then plunging back down into the valley, we head towards Hawthorne. Deceptively fast right-hander. This kicks off a sequence of corners on the back section of this course of just very tricky right-hand corners. Then into Westfield. Just clip the apex here and track out to the runoff and try and keep it on the track. The barriers are so close on either side. Then a very scary corner, Dingledell. Incredibly blind, and you're coming in with a lot of speed. And there's not much time to catch your breath because then you've got Sterling. A lot of banking on this left-hander, so just chuck the car in there and then carry your momentum through. Once again, it's another short straight, and then you come to the last corner on the circuit, Clark. Bit of a crest here, and the car's going to push all the way around there. But you got to get on the power because you're back onto the front straightaway, which is really a right-hand curve all the way back uphill and to the start-finish line. But that is a lap around Brands Hatch.
Welcome back, folks, to the GreenValleyLake.com MX-5 World Tour. Now, you've just seen a lap around this track, and I'm sure that you will know now that what Brian was saying is quite true. The track is a tough one to negotiate, but once you get the hang of it, in my opinion, you will love it just as much as I do. But let us talk about the current championship. Bill, we've had 6 rounds so far. And what is the championship looking like at the moment?
Okay, well, let's take a look at it. Last week at Road Atlanta, we had the top 18 drivers of the points show up. I mean, everybody was here. I think I saw Elvis and the Loch Ness Monster somewhere in the field. Today, we're a little short-handed. A lot of the guys are sitting out. It's a busy schedule. There's a lot of stuff going on in the iRacing service. So if we look at it, Yal Freitas leads the points, but he's not here today. Richard Eklund is second, just 3 points back. He is here today. Now, Jan Koemans is here. Now, we talked about dedication. Jan actually was on a business/vacation trip again, which he cut short and booked a plane instead of a train so he could make it back for this race. The girlfriend wasn't very happy about that because she was looking forward to a little more time on vacation. 4th place, Sergio Mora, he's not here today. Amjad Yaman in 5th. Mr. Steady, he is here today. Timo Tulianen is not here today. 7th place, Thomas Zabo is here today. Urianis is also here. Thomas Hallinan is not here, and if we round out the top 10, Joshua Leutz is not here. So it's going to give some opportunity for some of these drivers farther down to get a good finish, like, well, Yuris Jelenko and Sam McAleer. Now, one thing to talk about here before I give it back. We have to keep an eye on a newcomer, Brad Wooden. Now, Brad lives just a few doors down the street from Richard in Australia, somewhere in Australia. That's a big continent. But he's on the pole today. He qualified. Let me look at my chart. He qualified in 4th place, but because of the quick 6 gimmick, he's going to get moved up to the pole. So it's going to be interesting to see him lead the Stampede down into the first corner. Back to you, Richard.
Yeah, to be honest, Brad is going to get a pretty rude awakening. I don't think he's been up the front with these guys. So it's going to be really tough. And my bet is he's not going to be leading this race for very long because he'll be attacked and swamped by the regulars like Uros and Jan and so on. But he is a good driver. He's been trying to find his feet in the series, and I have no doubt that he will start featuring very soon up near the top of the field. So thank you for that. It's a great breakdown there, Bill. So having gone with all of that, we now come back to you, Brian, and your regular segment, The Keys to the Race. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, Richard, with the keys to the race today being you got to manage the traffic the best of your ability with the narrow track and all of the blind, tricky corners. As I'm watching Tom Rathie lose control of the car and slide into the wall there, it's very easy to run wide here in this car and make a mistake. And like you said, there's parts of the track where you can slow down and maybe save the car if you go a little wide, but more times than not, you're going to run into some issues with that. Also, I would say take a page out of Jan Koeman's book and pit early because here managing traffic is going to be crucial, and it's very hard to pass here. That's all I got for you, Richard.
Well, thank you for that. And we remind viewers that this segment is brought to us by Cozy Cabins in Green Valley Lake. please visit their website at cozycabinsgreenvalleylake.com. So, Bill, do we have a full grid yet or are they still, I know they're still practicing, so we can't do the grid at this stage. So, guys,
I can run down the quick six for you, though. I can give.
all right,
we
well,
can do
let's
the
talk
quick
about
six.
the quick six and we'll break that down for you. Go ahead, Bill.
So, like we talked about earlier, we have Brad Wooden, who qualified with the fourth fastest speed, but because what this series does is it takes the top 6 qualifiers of each race, and then it regrids them in reverse order based on how they're doing in the points. So Brad is not doing so well in the points, so he's up on the top. Second is Uros Jelenko. He qualified second and is in second. Third place is Yurianis. And fourth place is Thomas Sabo, and we're used to seeing them. And then back in the third row is Koemans and Eklund. And while we have the chance, if we can get Giancarlo maybe to give a look at the car of Sky Willis. Now, we talked about Sky the other day. There was some question on whether Sky was a man or a woman. Oh, and they're greeting right. Sky just left us, so I can't do that. When we get a chance later in the race, we'll take a look at Sky. She painted her car, plastered it with pictures of Tom Selleck to end any question on to whether she is a boy or a girl or a man or a woman. So we'll take a look at that later on in the race. Back to you, Rich.
Yeah, thanks for that, Bill. Now, we do have a bit of time up our sleeves today. There's still 3 minutes before they get to the grid. So while these guys are working these things out, what we will do is take a very short break, maybe a 2-minute break, Giancarlo, and come back to you with all the action in this great racing here at Brands Hatch. I'm loving it because this is going to be a lovely race, and I'm going to love calling it. Welcome back, folks, to the greenvalleylake.com MX-5 World Tour. Well, they are going to be getting ready to grid up in just a few seconds' time. The warm-up is finished, and we have given you the quick 6 already. and everybody is starting to grid up as we speak. So let us quickly run through the grid for you. Brian, you take us through the first 10, please, rather quickly.
Well, we already went through the quick 6, so we got real quick Wooten, Yelenko, Yanez, Zabo, Kumans, and Eklund. Following up behind that, we got Sam McAleer, Amjid Yamid, Arthur Chan, and Simon Valdoon.
Great stuff. Bill, the next 10, please.
In 11th is Rathy, Overgaard, Leutz, Mack, Vader, Willis, Lanowit, Fike, McKenzie, Torp, Kier, Tulianen, and Prentice. 23 drivers in the race. Back to you, Rich.
And it's green flag racing. The green has just flown, and away they go. And now we have in the front of this race, leading them off for the first time, Brad Wooten, followed by Uros Jelenko, then Yanis next. So we are already racing, and Tamar Zabo is in 4th place. They go 2 wide into the hairpin, and Jan Koemans overtakes Tamar Zabo, and in fact now moves up to 4th place. Brad Wooten still leading this race, and it's going to be a wonderful wake-up for him, and I hope he does extremely well. Brad, what are you seeing at this time?
It's Brian, Richard. Brad is on the track, and right now he is running down the hill with Uros Jelenko right on his tail. I don't know if you caught it at the beginning of the race, but it looked like Jelenko actually kind of fishtailed out at the start a little bit, so that did cost him a 10th or 2 going down here. Right now, Wooten is showing great pace and poise as he doesn't look like he is uncommon to be in the lead. He is running down here, showing great defensive positioning and just using his head early in the race to make sure that he keeps his momentum going.
Well, I got to tell you guys, Brad Wooten is no stranger to this track. A few weeks ago, we ran Brands Hatch, or it might have been late last season when we ran Brands Hatch in the Grand Touring Cup, which does feature these cars. And he was very, very good here, so I expected a good showing from him. I did expect the regulars, such as Uros Jelenko and Jan Koemans, to take it to him, but thus far he is showing great ability and great speed, and in fact he is leading this race very well. So whilst we have Uros Jelenko still in 2nd place, Jan Koemans has now moved up to 3rd place. As they go down turn 1, this downhill section, you can take a lot of the track verge there to track out on, and Koemans makes a move on Uros Jelenko and easily does it into the hairpin and takes 2nd place. So it seems to me Uros Jelenko struggling here a little bit, Brian, sorry.
I got word that Kim Vader went off in turn 1. Hopefully his race is not over. Right now, I am looking at Richard Eklund, who is going inside on, I believe, Thomas Zabo, and it looks like he made a clean pass as they go back up the hill under the bridge and down the hill. Looks like we're getting Amjid Yamid is also following up behind him, and we have 2 sets of cars going 2 wide here into in this narrow corner at the bottom of the hill, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Hopefully they use their heads and keep the contact to a minimum, as it looks like they're all going to make a clean. And we have a big spin.
Zabo touched Sam McAleer, and Sam McAleer is off the track. He is going to lose multiple positions, unfortunately. That was not good racing from Tamar Zabo. Unfortunately, Sam will not be happy about that. He has lost many positions now, and in fact his car is showing severe damage. He got another touch up there. He's now into the fence, and I'm afraid his race may well be done already at the on lap 2.
That is very unfortunate for him. I did not want to see that kind of contact early on. As I said in the keys of the race, managing traffic and making sure that you give each other space on these narrow roads is very crucial. Right now I'm looking at Thomas Zabu, who's being heavily under attack here by Amjid Yamin. These guys are chasing after Richard Eklund, who got a little bit of a distance because of the spin. It looks like everyone's spread out and lost a little bit of time, as right now Amjid Yamin goes inside and takes the position from Zabo. Then he goes wide to the grass. It looks like if he can keep the car clean, he might keep his position, but he lost a ton of momentum as he is now being chased down by several cars behind him. Richard, what are we seeing right now here on the track?
Well, I'll tell you what, Tamar Zabo is not making any friends here today. He was the cause of Amjad Yamin going wide there. He gave him a touch up the back. And Amjad did extremely well to maintain not only the position, but to even just stay on the track. So Tomas Szabo, he has certainly got to regulate his driving just a little bit, because he, as I said, is not making any friends here. However, we do see that Amjad Yaman has taken the position, or maintained the position, and is pulling away slightly from Tomas Szabo. So, Bill, we haven't come to you for a little while. In fact, we have not come to you at all in this race. What are you seeing at the moment?
Let's take a quick look, Giancarlo, come back to Stefan Overgaard. He's in a battle back here for 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th as he goes off the grass right now. Just ahead of him in the kind of gray-silver car there is Thomas Torp, and ahead of him in the yellow car is Craig McKenzie as Torp gets around McKenzie right now as we speak. These guys are really battling it out back here. Even behind Overgaard is Kim Vader, and then Benjamin Lanowit, our amateur alchemist. He's going to try to turn this poor performance from 18th into maybe find gold here. Let's go back to you, Rich.
Yeah, I have to say, guys, I am really surprised at Stefan Overgaard. I don't know what it is. Stefan is a lot better than what he's been showing, certainly in this series. I mean, this guy has won races in other series. He's won races in the Grand Touring Cup. As we see a car going off just in front of him. Who was that, Brian? Did anyone catch that? I think it may have been Thomas Torp. Yes, it was Thomas Torp. He's got a badly damaged car. A lot of damage in the rear. He must have slammed into the wall back there. So another a driver who has fallen foul of attrition here, Brian.
Yeah, and speaking of attrition, I got a little bit of an update here for Sam McAleer. It turns out he had about 4 minutes and 30 seconds of optional repairs, and he said he was out. So it is unfortunate, but early in the race, he's going to have a short day. Also, it's worth mentioning that Jan Kumis was maybe off the grass. It turns out that the report says he did not spin, but he did lose a lot of time. So we have Kumis running him. My last update was 5th or 6th position with Amjad Yaman close by. Up here in the front, I'm watching Brad Wooden. He's running a great race so far here on lap 4. I noticed he's been driving his tire off into the sand in some of the spots, so maybe the pressure behind him with Jaros Jelenko and Jer Yanis right on his tail maybe be rattling his cage a little bit, but nonetheless, he's showing a lot of poise here today, and I'm looking to him to make a big splash in the points, Richard.
Excellent stuff from Brad Wooden. Mind you, he is under attack at the moment as they go down the front straight away from Uros Jelenko. Uros Jelenko right on his bumper as they go down into turn 1. Uros Jelenko makes a move on him. Brad goes wide, still maintains the position, but now Uros has got a good run into the hairpin. Uros is going to take that position going into the hairpin. Brad wisely allowed him to take the place instead of fighting harder for that, because it's a risky proposition going into the hairpin. Now they come into turn 3. They take a lot of the grass there, but we have a new leader, Uros Jelenko, now leading this race. Brad Wooden still in it. He's fighting hard as they go up into turn 4. They go uphill now, down towards the very, very fast right-hander. But Brad is back in it. He is just behind Uros Jelenko. Will he make a move here into this very fast bend? I don't think so. It's not the place to try and overtake. And now they go into the series of twists and turns. Very high-speed stuff, so don't expect to see an overtaking maneuver right here. Good racing for Brad from... sorry, I'm getting confused between Brad and Brian. Brian's the commentator, Brad's the racer. Brian, back to you.
Yeah, it happens all the time, Richard. Don't worry about it. I just got word that Kumis has made up that position, that he lost to Amjad Yaman, so that's good to see him not losing any of his racing ability due to his off. It's important that when you have an incident like that to stay calm and recollect yourself and then find your rhythm, and then you will get back into the swing of things. Right now, up in the front, we got Brad Wooden, as it looks like he's trying to get that position back from Jaros Jelenko. I just wanted to mention that when Jelenko made that pass, he used his veteran knowledge of both the track and how to position the Mazda MX-5 there, and just kind of lazily rolled through there, but at the same time he made it work. Sometimes it's not about how fast you corner, it's just how you position your car to force the other one wide. With that being said, Giannis is also trying to take over the position in second place from Brad Wooden. These three guys have been going at it since the beginning of the race, and I am very excited about this battle. Back to you, Richard.
Yep, and we do have a very, very strong battle brewing here between Jan Koemans and Richard Eklund. At the moment, Richard Eklund is just in front of Koemans. They were virtually side by side going down the hill. They both went extremely wide down turn 1, but they both managed to keep it on the track, sort of. As you see now, Koemans attacking Eklund, going uphill there, down in towards turn 5 or turn 6. He goes to the outside. Not the best place to try and make a maneuver. Eklund covers him as they go around the very, very fast section. Jan Koemans decides he won't try anything further. He slots in behind Eklund once again. A very, very good battle going on here. Bill, we will come to you in a minute, but this is a great battle. Brian?
Yeah, and as I'm watching this battle with Richard Eklund and Jan Koemans, I'm also watching the battle right behind them with Amjad Yaman and Thomas Szabo. I bet both of them are thinking right now, the two go at it and take each other out. They're going to have a big wide open door to go ahead and pass right by. So they have to be mindful of that. It looks like Yaman's getting a pretty good run on the two battling cars up ahead. So it's very important here to not race too much here in the early part of the race and make sure your pace is up so you don't lose any more additional positions as a result of your battle. I'm getting word right now that Lawrence and Mackler both quit out of the race, so it looks like they're having some bad luck today. Bill, what are we looking at right now?
Let's go back and look at Timo Tuliainen. He had a horrible starting position. In fact, I didn't think he made the... oh, he bumps into the back of Sky right there as we're talking. I didn't think Timo made the race because he started so far back. You guys just interrupt if there's any action up there in the front. But this is an incredible battle that's been going on for 2 or 3 laps. Sky Willis in front of Trevor Mack and then Timo Tuliainen. They've been swapping spots back and forth. And before we go away from here, Jonathan Kerr got caught up. Oh, as Sky goes a little wide there, and she's going to fall out of the race now. As it looks like, well, she'll be in the race, but she's going to fall out of this battle as it's going to be between Mack and Tuliainen. To follow up on Kerr, he got caught up in that McAleer incident when McAleer limped his injured car back onto the track, and he couldn't get out of the way, so that roadster's in trouble. So the only other roadster that's going to be competitive now is Garth Prentice, who's currently running back in 21st. Let me go back up to the front with you guys. Thanks.
Okay, and a bit of a surprising position for Timo Tuliainen. Certainly must be one of those people who do not like this track, as we spoke about early on in the race. But back to the front, Brad, what's happening up there?
You called me Brad again, but it's all right. I've learned to accept it, and I will now be taking on the persona of Brad Wooden as we race here today. I've gotten wooed. I got word that your Giannis made a pass for position, but immediately lost it right after that. So it appears that Brad Wooden is showing a lot of control in his position in second place today, and his pace is going crazy. I'm gonna get back to you, Richard. I'm gonna go look for a developing battle here during this race.
Okay, and it's still between Eklund and Jan Koemans. Gosh, they go really, really wide on turn 1. They're way out there. They must be picking up 1Xs like crazy. Meanwhile, just behind them, we've got Amjad Yaman. He's starting to join this battle now. We've got Jan Koemans in front of Richard Eklund and Amjad Yaman. I must say, Bill, I am hugely impressed with the way that Amjad Yaman has come along in this series. He is certainly one of the front runners now. Never won a race, just I don't believe any of the 6 races that we've had so far he's won, but he's very high up in the championship just due to his beautiful and consistent running.
Yeah, he doesn't have a victory yet. He does have a career victory though in the series, and what's interesting about him is he's picked up a little more speed. He's always been consistent, but I think this season we're seeing him much more competitive with the front guys, where he doesn't necessarily need to be satisfied with a 5th place finish anymore. He's thinking podium, 2nd place, victory. So if we can take a second, Giancarlo, if you can go back, we'll go back and look at Joshua Leutz real quick. There's battles going all over the place here. Joshua Leutz is in a battle for 10th position. Just ahead of him is Simon Van Doon, and right now Simon's trying to make a move around Arthur Chan. So there's fighting all over the place, up front, in the middle, up back. If we can even go one a little bit farther, it's 7th place. We get up to, we'll set the field here for you. Thomas Szabo running in 7th, and then you get back up to the leaders back up there where we get into Amjad Yaman and Richard Eklund. So let's go back to the front with you, Rich.
Well, let's just stay with this battle between Simon Van Duyn and Arthur Chan for a moment. This is quite a fierce battle here. Arthur Chan just in front of Simon Van Duyn. They go into the hairpin. Just behind them, Joshua Lloyds. So a great three-way battle here. Simon goes a little wide. They go into turn number 3, which is this very fast left-hander where you can take a lot of the grass. And currently they're on station. So the battle is not over, but it's just petered out a little bit. No, it's back on again. Simon Van Duyn making the move on Arthur Chan. Can't make it stick just yet. Joshua Lloyd's watching to see what's going on. Simon Van Duyn going a little wide there, trying to look on the outside, not happening so. At this point, we'll come back to the front and we'll go to you, Brian.
Yeah, right now I'm watching the Amjad Yaman and Richard Eklund battle. These guys have been going at it for a couple of laps now. Actually, on the last lap coming out of turn 1, they both went very wide, miles off into the dirt, but didn't lose any position to Thomas Zabu, who trails shortly behind. It looks like right now Jan Koemans is pulling away just slightly, but I've seen him drop a few tires off here and there and losing that little bit of progress he's made towards pulling away from these battling guys back here. However, it's been a very great race so far. As I just got word that someone spun, let me see who it is.
It was Lloyds. Lloyds in that battle. He ended up on the grass. I'll do a replay and see if I can figure out exactly what happened.
Yep.
Yeah, we're looking at Joshua Lloyd's just at the minute. He's got some damage on his rear left. So, and he spins again, trying to force the car into the final turn. This is not good. If I were him, I'd get into the pits right now, which in fact he does do. So an early pit stop for Joshua Lloyd's, and not a great situation for him to be in. As we see just in front of him, looks like Arthur Chan in the pits as well. So he could be into the pit window at this point.
Yeah, Richard.
Sorry, Bill, what was that?
Richard, what happened was in that battle that you were looking at between Chan and Lloyds, Chan got loose in front of the three of them and spun and collected Lloyds. So that's why both of those are in the pits right now.
Ah, okay. All right, guys, we'll just go back to the front here and just run through the order for you. So we've got Uros Jelenko at this point in time. He is leading the race. In second place now, we've got Brad Wooten running an absolutely marvelous race here. And in third place, Jer Yanis. Jer is actually not, he's keeping up, but he's not making any impression on the two leaders. And it's great to see. And Jan Koemans, quite a way back. Very unusual for Jan Koemans to be this far back. He has got a lot of time to make up to get on the podium today. And then we've got Richard Eklund, who's fallen off a little from Jan Koemans right now. And he will be fighting to get up to Jan Koemans and to get into fourth place. And then we've got Amjad Yaman. So guys, this race is shaking out now. We're on lap number 11. And bearing in mind they've got 26 laps in this race, so 15 laps to go. Your thoughts on the race thus far, Brian?
Real quick, before I get to my thoughts, Sky Willis is jumping into the pits right now. I was actually watching the battle between Sky Don't Call Her, Skylar Willis, and Stefan Overgaard as they were going through the twists and turns of the track, battling it out for position. So it's interesting to see her pull a jump or a page out of Jan Koemans' book and going in pits so early. I don't know if she picked up any damage. She might be trying a new strategy. So we'll see how that plays out. Back to you, Richard.
Yep, great. And what we've got now is we're looking for some battles here. I'm looking at the moment at Stefan Overgaard. Just quickly to see what he's doing. Stefan Overgaard continues to be an absolute mystery to me. Why he is this far back when he is such a great driver is just a big puzzle to me. I just can't figure it out.
Well,
I don't see any battles myself, so I will go to you. Bill, what are you seeing at the moment?
Well, let's keep an eye on Timo Tuliainen. We talked earlier how he started so far back in the field. He's now up to 10th place. He's going to close. It must be that he just didn't have the practice time in on this track because he's faster than where he started from. If we move up one spot, let's give a little bit of screen time to Tom Rathie. Tom Rathie in the welcome in red, white, and blue car there. he's had some bad luck over the last couple of races where he hasn't been able to get through the first 2 or 3 laps. It's nice to see him running a steady race in the 9th place. And if we take one more peek up ahead from Tom Malathi, we'll see who's running this Simon Van Doom. We haven't talked much about him. Now, pit stops are going to be coming pretty soon, so we're going to follow these and make sure we don't miss any action there.
I just wanted to point out, Richard, that Stefan Overgaard is actually on his 3rd race for the day. He was in the very long 90-minute EPS race from this morning. For those who aren't familiar with EPS, it's the Enduro Pro Series where they have the HPD, the Corvette, and the McLaren all racing on the same track at the same time. It's a very intense series over there. But, yeah, he raced there in his Corvette, and then I guess he had a makeup race with Bill Zahn at Silverstone, and now he is here at Brands Hatch, just on the other side of the country. So he's had a very busy day nonetheless, and he must be feeling pretty tired at this point. I wouldn't think that that would affect him too much, but we'll see how it plays out. He is currently sitting in 12th place.
Well, you know, that explains it. I'm thankful that that information has been brought to my attention, because I could not figure it out. But it just goes to show that fatigue obviously can be a factor. And having done a 90-minute and then another an hour's racing, so it's understandable now to me why he is this far back. But back to the front, where we are looking at Uros Jolenko and Brad Wooten still holding down 1st and 2nd place. Great racing from Brad Wooten, as we said. It seems to me, though, Brian, that Jay Yanis is starting to make up time on these two.
Yeah, it really does seem that way. And, you know, he's been using a very interesting strategy of, you know, kind of running more conservatively. Usually I would see someone, you know, try to break a little bit later here and there, try to catch him off guard. But I think right now he's just trying to wait for a mistake to be made so he can just make a clean pass when it comes up. As you saw just now, Uros Jolenko dropped the tire off into the sand. And those are the little kind of mistakes that will slow a person down and make his life easier. Rather than driving the car harder, he can just wait for these mistakes to add up. With that being said, Brad Wooten hasn't really made a whole lot of mistakes today, and I'm very impressed with his drive. He has been lights out, and Uros Jolenko is just a little faster than him, but at the same time, Brad is showing that he can come into this series and make a big splash in the points early on, and it's been a pleasure watching him race.
Yeah, I'm very glad for him as well. As was made, the point was made early on in the broadcast that Brad Wooten is a countryman of mine here in Australia. Actually lives not very far from me, just a couple of suburbs away, not actually down the road, but just a couple of suburbs away. So I'm very pleased for the showing that he has is doing here today. But Jay Yanis does seem to be catching them, and looky, Jan Koolmans, Jay Yanis spins, and it is Jan Koolmans collects Jay Yanis. Nowhere for Jan Koolmans to go. He chose the right hand side, did not choose the correct way to go around, and he's just hit Jay Yanis. So he's still going, but Jay Yanis, on the other hand, as we go to replay, is now in a position where we've put the commentator's curse on him, Brian.
Yeah, I'm still looking for the replay myself, but, you know, it's unfortunate for Koolmans. He's had a couple of weeks in a row now where there's been a little bit of drama that he's been involved with. Not to say that it's his fault or we're not placing blame on anyone. It's just unfortunate that he's had such trouble in some of these harder tracks that we've been visiting lately. If you think about it, we've had very challenging races the last couple of weeks in a row. We've had Mount Panorama over in your neck of the woods, and then we also had Road Atlanta, another tricky track with a lot of elevation changes, much like here at Brands Hatch. So these guys have been basically been running pretty hard and trying to make as little mistakes as possible. But sometimes when you're in the heat of battle, things just happen, and you know it's unfortunate. But they're just gonna have to move on at this point.
Yeah, and of course Amjad Yaman saw what was happening just in front of him. He's the big winner out of that. So he has got Jan Koolmans in his sights now. He's now in 4th place. Jan Koolmans is up to 3rd place. And the leaders would have made good their escape. They are a little way down the road. So some really good racing here and some really unfortunate things happening as well, as we see Jan Koolmans, obviously with a bit of damage on his car, struggle to get through that particular corner there. And now we see Amjad Yaman closing up right behind. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jan Koolmans going into the pits, because he obviously must have a little bit of damage on that car. Let's see what happens as they go down towards the last turn and into the pit entry. Do they go in? Does Koemans come in? Doesn't look like it. He's going to stay out there because obviously pitting is not part of his plan now. But we do see Amjad Yaman going to the inside now. Koemans out wide. If Amjad Yaman plays it smart, we've seen Koemans going really wide into turn 1. Is he going to do that now? He stays within the bounds of the track, so does not give Amjad Yaman an opportunity to pass. Closes the door going into the hairpin as well. So smart racing from Jan Koemans there. I just saw the nose of Richard Eklund, who's joining this battle. Brian, this is now a three-way battle.
Yeah, I think Richard Eklund might be getting a little frustrated here. It seems like he has more speed than Yaman in many parts of the track, and it's just nowhere to go because it's so narrow and so technical. And because of the fact that Yaman's also involved with a battle here in front of him, there's really nowhere to go. Say Eklund were to make a pass on Yaman, he'd still have another car to deal with that's running a little bit slower too. So if I was Eklund right now, I'd be telling myself to just stay calm, wait for something to happen, whether it be a pit stop or a mistake, and then find your pace later on in the race. It's still early. We still got a little bit of time before we have to worry about making desperate moves, Richard.
Let me butt in here.
Okay, go ahead, Bill.
If I were Eklund, I'd pit. He's being held up. If I was Yaman, I'd pit. They could come in, run some clean laps, and put some distance between Koemans. Koemans is holding him up with the damage on that Speedmaster car.
Yeah, and I'm getting word from our spotters here who do a great job that Willis and Overgaard are pretty close to each other, so we'll just go and have a look at that little battle. Seems to me that Sky is just behind Stefan Overgaard there. Stefan seems to have it pretty much tied up at the moment. We'll come back if they get a little bit closer. But back to the battle with Richard Eklund, Koemans and Yaman. They are still nose to tail going into turn 1, Brian.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm starting to see Yaman go a little wide in a few of these corners, so I'm wondering if he's also starting to get a little frustrated with the car in front of him. I think Bill's right. He might be onto something. We're coming up to the pit window anyways. I think the best thing to do here is duck into the pits and try and get some open space in front of you on the way out.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And just let us touch base with the absolute front of the race at the moment, where Uros Jelenko is still, we'll come back to that battle in a moment, Brian, but Uros Jelenko is still leading this race. They come up on a slower car. I believe that might be Jonathan Kier.
Yep.
And in fact, Brad Wooden still behind him, so that's pretty much the way that it's been for the last few laps. So we'll go back to the battle with Eklund, Yaman and Koemans, Brian.
I was just thinking that with the back marker in Mr. Kier there on the track in front of Wooden and Jelenko, what's it going to be like when Koemans, Yaman, and Eklund all catch him? There's not a lot of room on this track to pass, and these guys are going very hard at it. So hopefully they can turn down the intensity a little bit, make sure they get around Mr. Kier safely, or maybe now they'll decide to pit. So we'll see what happens as we come around the final corner here, Richard, whether they decide to stay out and go, or they decide to go get some new tires and some gas. And we got Koemans diving into the pits, followed by Yaman and Eklund. Sorry, Richard, to talk over you there. It looks like we both saw the same thing at the same time.
That's cool. You go right ahead. They all three of them into the pits there.
It appears that I think Brad Wooten and Uros Jelenko are also both in the pits. If someone could confirm for me, that would be great.
They're all in the pits. Wooten's in the pits. Jelenko's in the pits. Everybody's in the pits.
Well, this is great. And who is that? Who's come out first?
That's Jelenko out first.
I got word actually that Amjad Yaman might have missed his pit stop, so that's going to cost him some time in this battle. Richard Eklund might get the time that he needs to take over that position. Will he beat out Koemans is the question, and we'll see what happens from there. Right now, it looks like Uros Jelenko has made a very big gap in front of everybody else, and he is just pulling off, so he had a great pit stop. Hopefully, he took enough gas.
Eklund and Wooten in a battle at this point in time. Brad Wooten manages to hold out Richard Eklund. Richard Eklund goes on the inside as they go through turn 3. He's on the inside now for turn number 4. Brad Wooten will give way to Richard Eklund. No good battling into this very tight turn 4, and Eklund moves up a spot into what is going to be second place, I believe. At this point, we'll have to wait and see till the timing and scoring from iRacing catches up. But now Wooten makes a move back on Eklund again. He's on the inside. Eklund stays on the outside and keeps him out for the moment, but he does take the position back. Great racing, Brian, from both of these guys.
You know what, Richard? Our director, Giancarlo Lenzi, actually has just pointed out something that is very shocking to me, but it appears that Eklund might be short on fuel as he took a very, very quick pit stop. So he might be battling it out now and burning more fuel than he really has to. And if he comes across sputtering, I would not be surprised. As far as the battle goes, it's intense racing. They're both showing a lot of respect for each other, kind of, sort of, as they battle in and out of these corners, looking for every inch they can, Richard. This has become quite the battle.
Yeah, I know. This is an absolutely great race, and Brad Wooten, I'm pretty sure he is gaining a lot of respect from the guys around him, Richard Eklund, Jan Koemans, Amjad Yaman, and the like. He has come out here today and strutted his stuff, and he's doing an absolutely wonderful job. To be in front of Richard Eklund is no mean feat, let me tell you, folks. And we have this rookie, Brad Wooten, doing it and doing it great. And just in front of him at the moment, we do have Uros Jelenko, who they've all pitted, so this is all genuine position right now. Uros Jelenko leading, Brad Wooten in second place, and Richard Eklund now in third place. So with that said, what are you seeing, Bill?
Well, let's go ahead and, Giancarlo, we can go through the field here a little bit. Let's go to fourth place is Jan Koemans. Now, he had a fairly good pit stop. Amjad Yaman missed his pit, so he dropped down in fifth. Koemans is still able to maintain a good speed, though, in fourth place, even with that damaged car. We look back now one spot further. We go all the way back to Thomas Szabo. He's had a quiet race. He got his pit in early. He's come out of the pits just ahead of Simon Van Doon. They're running 6th and 7th. We go all the way back to 8th place now is Arthur Chan, and we'll ran out the top 10. Tom Rathie in a quiet 8th place finish, but he's in a battle. If we go ahead and look here, we got Arthur Chan, Tom Rathie, and right behind them, here he is, Timo Tulieni. Just come from the back of the field. He's now inside the top 10, and he's looking to move past two more, pick up maybe up into 8th place. Back to you, Rich.
Yep, and here is a battle worth watching. We've got Timo Tuliainen. We've got in front of him Tom Rathie, who just got a touch from Tuliainen right there. He was in a battle fiercely with Arthur Chan, trying to take that position from him. Did not succeed as they come down into the final turn, turn number 9 on this track. Great track, love it. And let's see, Timo Tuliainen now in that 10th position. They're back in station, so we'll leave that for the moment and come to you, Brian. What are you seeing?
Well, actually, I was watching the Arthur Chan battle with Tom Rathie and Timo Tuliainen. These guys have been throwing out some good lap times lately, and I've really enjoyed watching this battle. Yar Yanis and Frederick Allen, I believe is his name, have both manually disconnected from the race, so it looks like attrition's starting to take hold of some more drivers. But right now I'm focusing on the Arthur Chan battle, as these guys are just going all out, trying to find that position. I saw Tom Rathie try to make a few passes, but Tuliainen got in the way a little bit as he tried to make a pass on Rathie. So these guys are kind of in a stalemate right now, looking for some room on the track. Bill, I think we're going to head over to the backmarker salute shortly, so Richard, we'll hand it to you while he's getting that sorted out, and we'll talk a little bit about what you're seeing, Richard.
Okay, and what I am seeing is Richard Eklund and Brad Wooten absolutely nose to tail battling it out. They go now down to turn number 9. Richard Eklund going wide, exiting that left-hander, and Brad Wooten has made up a little time on him, but just early on in this lap they were absolutely side by side, and Richard Eklund trying to push for the pass, did not make it, and now he's fallen back into line. So we do have Bill ready now with the back marker salute, so over to you, Bill.
Okay, the back marker salute is brought to you by Eagle's Nest Tavern in Green Valley Lake. If you're in the area, stop in. And Richard, if the action up front, you just interrupt, okay? I'm starting the clock. We're going to start with George Fike. He's currently running in 17th position. That's a pretty good finish for him. You see him in that kind of black and brown car there. If we move up one more position, we go to Craig McKenzie. I get him confused with Jonathan Keir. He has that yellow and black car running in 16th position. That's good for him. We go to our amateur alchemist, Benjamin Lanouette from Western Canada. 16th, running 15th right now, was doing really well in the Ironman series, Ironman competition until last week where he had to exit early. Kim Darth Vader, I don't know, what is it? He's running at 14th. He's a rookie to the series this time. You see him in that kind of red car with white stripes there. And how much time do I have left? Oh, he's got plenty of time, 20 seconds left. Let's go up to Sky Willis. Sky has her car plastered with Tom Selleck. She's having a really good race and has been giving Stefan Overgaard all he could ask for today. But Stefan has pulled away a little bit on him, and he's currently running in 12th place. And that's our back marker salute, 60-second salute. Back to you up front, Rich.
Thank you, Bill. Always great to hear you rattle these so-called back markers. Some of them are not really back markers. So real quick, guys, we've got four drivers showing as being completely out of this race. Joshua Lloyds was involved in some drama early on. Sam McAleer as well. Gareth Prentice, who we didn't speak a lot about, and Jay Yanis, who was involved in that spin. He spun all by himself, pardon me, and he actually got taken out. So back to you, Brian. What do you see?
I have to break in real quick. Timo Tuliainen has taken over positions from Tom Rathie and I believe Arthur Chan, but as he gets into the heat of the battle, he went way wide twice in a row, two separate corners. He went off, came back on, went off again, still managed to keep the car off the wall, but he lost a ton of time. I think Arthur Chan has taken the position. As we go three wide into turn one, Arthur Chan's going to take the lead, followed close behind by Trevor Mack, and Tom Rathie's working his way back up. Timo Tuliainen, I don't know if he did damage to his car, but he is now under attack by Trevor Mack. This has been quite the development here with only 4 or 5 laps to go in the race. Hopefully, Timo, you can keep yourself in the top 10. You've had a great race going so far, so we want to see the best out of you. Richard, this has been a crazy development here at the end of the race.
Yep, and we'll stay with this battle because it certainly is very hot. And they're coming up on a back marker there. I think that is Jonathan Keir once again. Arthur Chan is leading this little group, and Tom Rathie is following him, and then Timo Tuliainen and Trevor Mack. So a four-way battle for what is it? It's the 8th place for whoever manages to get and stay ahead, as we just see Jonathan Keir braking and giving these guys plenty of room to battle. So 3-way battle for the 9th place. Arthur Chan slightly in front there, Brian. But yeah, just a great battle, and it's anybody's position right here.
Yeah, Timo Tuliainen just had another off trying to keep his car behind Tom Rathie. It looks like he's not backing down. He wants to get every position he can, but if he doesn't keep his car on the track, planted all 4 tires, he's going to find himself into a troubling spot. I'm very impressed today with Trevor Mack. He is having one heck of a run, and he is actually showing a lot of competitive spirit here in this difficult track at Brands Hatch. I also got some word that Jan Koemans went off the track trying to keep his pace up, so hopefully he didn't take any damage. Bill, what do we got going on here on your end of the racetrack?
Well, you know, I just had to check in on Brad Wooden. He's ahead of Eklund right now, but honestly, I think...
Sorry guys,
go ahead.
Both Rathie and Tuliainen in front of him, really wide into turn 1. Tuliainen lost it, and he came back on track, but he's behind Trevor Mack right now, and Tom Rathie in front of Trevor Mack. So Tuliainen, big loser there. Meanwhile, Arthur Chan has maintained his position. Back to you, Bill. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was looking at it. That's actually pretty great driving by those guys. Tuliainen was on the beach, and he was able to bring it back in, and it scared Rathie, and he did great. Let's go back and though to finish up my thought with Brad Wooden. He came into the season, and I think he was a bit overwhelmed by the talent. I think it took him a couple races to catch his breath, and now he's given Richard Eklund all he could want. I mean, he's got behind him Richard Eklund, the defending champion, and behind him 3-time champion Jan Koeman, and Brad Wooden is not blinking. He's just driving that black and yellow car on rails, perfectly driving. I think he's good. Now, Jelenko has checked out. I think Jelenko, unless lightning strikes him, he's got this race wrapped up. But it's going to be a great battle here between Wooden and Eklund for second place. Back to you, Rich.
Well, Bill, you're making a prediction there, which is very, very risky to do in this series. Jelenko does look like he has a good lead on Brad Wooten. It's got to be all of 3 or 4 seconds, which it is. But to come to your point a bit of Brad Wooten actually at this point leading 2 great drivers like Eklund and Koemans, I have to say absolute kudos to the guy. He is showing what he's made of, and we're going to see him now. This will give him an enormous boost in his confidence for the upcoming races. So at this point in time, he hasn't got second place wrapped up by any means. Richard Eklund lurking behind him as they go through the fast right-hander. But certainly he's showing great poise, as Brian said, and keeping his cool under a lot of pressure from some of these great drivers. Brian?
Yeah, and right now I'm watching Trevor Mack looking outside on Timo Tuliainen, trying to get a draft and maybe a good breaking point as both cars flash on my end. I don't know if that's a network connection thing or if it's me, but I saw a couple of cars flash there. Nonetheless, Tom Rathy is taking the position back from Trevor Mack with a very secure position, and it looks like he's going to maintain the top 10 for a few more laps here.
Yeah, and the battle is here for the 10th place, for the 9th place, in fact, between Trevor Mack and Timo Tuliainen as they go through that series of right-handers, which is very fast and very tricky. Tuliainen goes to the inside, and he's going to take the position from Trevor Mack as they go into this very, very tricky corner. I got to tell you guys, that some of these corners can catch you out pretty easily, but these guys are negotiating them very well. Trevor Mack loses that spot. Tuliainen moves up into what will now be, what is that, 10th place or 9th place, in fact it is. And he's coming back at Tuliainen. He goes a little bit skatey into turn number 9, going on the front straight away. Really built some excellent racing here tonight.
Chan, Rathy, Tuliainen, and Mack have been battling it out the whole race for that position. Now, what's interesting for Tuliainen, he starts at the back, and it's easy to make up ground through the back markers, but then the competition stiffens, it gets a little harder, and it looks like he's leveled out here at about 8th, 9th, 10th place. It's an impressive run, you know, and I got to give credit. Let's go ahead and give credit to Tom Rathy. He's had some rough times. He's having a great race, very steady, had a couple offs, but he's doing great. Let's go back. I have a feeling Richard Eklund is saying, here, kitty, kitty, kitty to Wooten. So let's see what's going on up there for second.
All right, and I was about to say that this is the battle. It is for the second place position in this race. Now, folks, we only have a few laps left. We're on lap 24 out of 26. So there's only a few laps left. Keep an eye on Uros Jelenko, Brian, because we do want to make sure we call, if he does indeed win this race, we want to make sure that we call him as he's going over the finish line. But the battle is right here for second place, Brian.
Yeah, you know what? I've really been enjoying this battle with Brad and Rich here. They've been going at it for pretty much the whole race, as Bill said. But I also noticed that John Koemans behind them has been making up a little bit of time here and there. And it's interesting that he's been able to do that because he has slid on and off the track several times in the last couple of laps. So kudos to him for putting up such a valiant effort on trying to make up that time in that positions. As we see Richard Eklund still trying to put some pressure on Wooten. At this point, I think it's a lost cause because Wooten appears to not be rattled as John Koemans goes off, has a huge off, just barely missing the wall, coming back onto the track into the hairpin.
Yeah, and that situation is continues to play out, but we want to stay with the second place battle. Now we see that Richard Eklund is putting on a lot of pressure onto Brad Wooten. Brad Wooten is staying cool, he's staying calm. He's only got a couple of laps left. They're on lap 25, so when they cross the line, the next time it will be the final lap. And now Richard Eklund closes right up onto the back of Wooten, and they're going through the series of right-handers that I've described before. Eklund playing a waiting game. When will he make his move? This is not the place to do it. Brad Wooten extremely cool under pressure. In the meantime, Jan Koemans coming up to join this battle.
He's there.
This is going to be one hell of a finish, Brian.
I think Brian's
Well-
gone. Oh, are you there, Brian? I thought you lost.
Yeah, I'm here. I apologize. I was calling out a replay, which has been known to happen here at the GSRC sometimes. So, with that being said, Jan Koemans is actually right over the back of Eklund. He'll see if he tries to make a move into turn one, as we also got, I believe, Brad Wooten here on the outside defending his line. So it's coming down to be a very interesting battle here at the end, going back to a three-way battle. It looks like Koemans went off a little bit, so did Eklund. Neither of them lose too much time as Wooten tries to do everything he can, hold off that position. Richard, this has been quite the battle. We only got maybe half a lap left here for this battle to play out.
Yeah, keep with that battle. I am going to be watching Uros Jelenko, who is leading the race. He's going into turn number 4 now, and I will butt in when he's about to finish the race. Go ahead.
Wooten
we
got
go up
loose.
the hill.
Wooten got loose, and he's gonna let Eklund by, and Koemans did get by him. So he moves. Wooten goes down into 4th on a mistake.
What a shame for Brad Wooten. He has put up quite the race. It's very happy to see him doing so well nonetheless as he comes up. He is now going to be in 4th or 5th position. I believe it's 4th, as Richard Eklund now moves up to 2nd, followed by Jan Koemans in 3rd. So that is the kind of mistake you want to avoid as we come up to the final section of the track here. A very tricky left and right section that heads up the hill to the start-finish line, Richard.
All right, and guys, we now go to our leader, Uros Jelenko, who's coming around turn number 9 as I speak, and he will head down the start-finish straight to take the win here in this wonderful, wonderful race. It's been a great battle, very, very good to watch. He crosses the line now, takes a win. I'm not sure, Bill, if this is his first win of the season, but a great win at a very, very tough track.
2nd place goes to Eklund, 3rd place to Koemans, 4th place to Brad Wooten after that little wobble. 5th place is Amjad Yaman. In the back, spinning across, is Thomas Szabo. These guys are crazy when the race is over. We'll go back to 8th place right now. We have Chan in a battle with Tom Rathie as they come around. Chan has him by about 2 car lengths as they head down to the finish line. It looks like it's going to be...
Trevor Mack, I'm sorry, is trying to take a position here, and he did not get it. I do not think he made it, but that was a very good attempt here for, I believe it was 10th position. I think Timo might have beat him to it, but what a final effort there by Trevor Mack.
And these guys are all over the place as they pass the finish line, and all around turn 1 and that little straightaway there, everybody is just spinning out their cars, etc. But the race is not 100% finished yet. We still have cars finishing up. Kim Vater has just finished. Behind him we have Jonathan Keir there finishing. So if Jonathan has finished, then that would be the end of the race. Folks, we're going to take a short break. We'll come back and we'll give you the full standings and we'll do some driver interviews. Welcome back, folks, to the Green Valley Lake MX-5 World Tour. Well, guys, we've just seen an absolutely brilliant race from all of these drivers, and we want to take you through the standings as the guys finished up. So, Brian, take us through the first 10, please.
Would be glad to do that for you, Richard. In first place, we had Yuris Jelenko. He had a great race. He checked out early and never looked back. Following up was Richard Eklund, who took advantage of a mistake by Jan Koemans and Brad Wooden. He ended up coming in second. So then that brings up, of course, their third place and fourth place drivers of Jan Koemans and Brad Wooden. Amjad Yaman came in fifth, followed by Thomas Zabo in sixth, Simon Van Doon in seventh, Arthur Chan in eighth, Tom Rath in ninth, and Timo Tuliainen in 10th.
And Bill, who was behind them?
And 11th was Trevor Mack, who finished last in that battle between Chan, Rathi, Tuliainen, and Mack that went on the whole race. 12th was Stefan Overgaard. 13th was Sky Willis, another good finish from her. 14th was Kim Vader. In 15th was Benjamin Lanowit. 16th was Craig McKenzie. 17th was George Fike. 18th, Thomas Torp. We didn't hear much from him. He finished one lap down. And 19th, Jonathan Kerr. 20th was Yuri Yanis, who finished 14 laps down when he had that. I'll just finish this up here because there's not many left. When he got spun and then got collected by Jan Koemans. 21st, Garth Prentice. 22nd, Joshua Leutz. And 23rd, hard luck, Sam McAleer. This was going to be his race, and he got into more trouble. Back to you, Rich.
Thank you, Bill. So there you have it, folks, the full 23 positions. Now, we do have some people ready for interview. And I believe that Jan Koemans, who finished in third place, is with us in the booth. So, Bill, I believe you're going to have a chat to Jan Koemans. Go ahead.
Okay, Jan, they're giving me two questions. Let's go with the first one about the race. You collected Yuri Yanis there. Was your car damaged? And you almost pulled out of second place. Tell me about your race.
Well, very frustrating, Bill. It's one of the few races where I really felt like I was more than fast enough to go for the win here. I just was a little bit impatient at the beginning, trying to go after Brad. I tried to get a good run out of the last corner, and I just pushed a bit too much, so I went wide and lost all the positions, which then later led to me collecting Jere. I just guessed wrong. He was spinning straight out, and I had to choose a direction, and it was the wrong one. And yes, actually, I did have damage. I was losing 5 or 6 tenths in total, just on the straights. The corner of the car was fine, just on the straights I couldn't keep up.
Okay, now we have iRacing viewers, and we have viewers that don't know about iRacing. So let's go with a personal question. Tell me how your day started and what you had to do to get to here to race today.
They started very nice, actually. I had some scrambled eggs with sausages. After that, I had a very nice lunch. I think I had a spaghetti pomodoro, followed by some sea bass.
Okay.
And then shortly after, I was driven in the BMW 7 Series to the airport. After which, I had a 1.5 hour flight to Moscow, another taxi, and then I got here with like 5 minutes of practice left.
You know, I asked you earlier about if you're dedicated. That was very, very impressive to make it for the race today. We'll hope to see you next week. Better luck. Maybe get a win next week. Okay, Jan?
Thanks, Bill. See you.
All right, back to you, Rich.
Okay. And nice that we heard about all the food that Jan Koemans had for today. But we do have our second place finisher, Richard Eklund, in the booth with us as well. And Brian, you're going to have a chat to Richard Eklund. Go ahead.
So, Richard, I guess my first question is, what did you have for breakfast? I'm just kidding. We witnessed one of the best races we've seen all season with you, Jan Koemans, and I believe it was Brad Wooden, the newcomer to the series, who was putting up a great race the whole stretch today. And he made a mistake, and you took advantage of it and ended up coming in second. Tell us about what happened, what did you see, and what was your mindset after you got past them?
I had an opportunity to pass him once before, and I messed that up. So I was kicking myself, but then he made a mistake, so then I was happy.
Talking about kicking yourself, it appeared that you were a little frustrated at times, getting stuck behind maybe some slower drivers. what do you do in that situation? Like on a track like this, it's very narrow and there's not very many chances to pass. How do you keep yourself focused and not to make a mistake when you get stuck behind someone like that?
Yeah, this track is pretty hard to pass on. But you just have to try and pressure the guy ahead and see if they make a mistake. And if they do, then good, you can get by them. If they don't, then there's not much you can do, really.
Yeah, and my final question today is, how did you feel about the car, and what do you got going on for the rest of the weekend? You gonna practice for next week, or what we got going here?
The car is okay, but with the weather today, there was understeer all over the place. So I'm sure you saw a bunch of cars going to the gravel in the broadcast. So that's why that was happening. What am I doing this weekend? I don't know. Not practicing for next week because I think that's an exhibition race, and I haven't been practicing for these races until the morning of, so probably just relax.
That's right. We do have a break at some point coming up in the season. Thank you for joining us, Richard. It was great watching the race. We're glad that you got second place and you capitalized on that mistake by Brad Wooten. Thank you again for coming down and talk to us. We'll go back to Richard.
Thanks.
Thank you, Brian. And now we do have Brad Wooten in the booth with us. Brad Wooten, country person of mine from Australia, from Brisbane, in fact, I believe you live down in Cleveland. Brad, I'm going to ask you this question. What happened on the last lap there? You were doing great in second place. Tell us about that last lap.
Yeah, I just got a little bit sideways going to that corner there, down to that main straight. And, yeah, you all know the rest from there, I suppose. So that's a bit of an evil corner for me, and was incident-free there the whole race until the very last lap, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, Brad, mate, you've been new to the series, and I must say that in the first 6 rounds, you haven't had much of a showing. Obviously, this is a track that you love to race on. In fact, I've raced with you on this track in the past years, so obviously you took it to the guys today, and how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I guess I'm just trying to find my feet in this series. There's a lot of really quick guys, you know, that race in the Grand Touring and other series on iRacing. So I'm just trying to find my feet and my pace and try and get up where I normally am, I suppose. So, yeah, feeling quite good about today.
Yeah, well, you know, 4th place today, it could so easily have been 2nd place. Early on, you were actually leading the race, and Uras Jalenko was pressuring you for that 1st place. Just tell me a little bit about the first few laps when you were leading, and what was in your mind at that point?
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous, I suppose, off pole from the quick 6 to turn around, and yeah, I just tried to keep it out front, keep it as clean as I could, and I knew that, you know, either Jan or Uros was going to come through pretty quickly. So I just tried to keep it up there as much as I could and not make any mistakes, really.
Okay, well, Brad, look, my friend, we congratulate you on a good race, a great race today. 4th place, nothing to sniff at in this sort of company. And we wish you well for the upcoming races. There's a break next week, and then we start again in earnest in 2 weeks' time. So congratulations, and thank you for talking to us.
Thanks,
so
Richard.
Now, folks, we come to the end of this broadcast. It has been an absolutely great race. I'll get some thoughts from my co-commentators here. Brian, you first.
Well, I was going to ask you, what about Brad Wooten today? He had one heck of a showing. Started on the pole thanks to the quick 6 gimmick that we do here in the series. Bill even pointed out that he thought he was going to have a great showing, so it's good to see him running up in the front the whole race, and it was unfortunate that he had that little accident that cost him a few positions at the end. Richard, I was very impressed with Brad Wooten today.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you for broadcasting today. It's been a great race to call. Bill, what were your thoughts?
Well, it was interesting to see a race that didn't have the cozy cabin car up front all day. We also didn't see Oki Stokenberger in the rustic cabin car, one of our new sponsors. To also touch on the sponsors, Timo Tuliainen got a lot of screen time. He had a nice run from the back. 10th place finish will help him. And a shout out to Tom Rathie, got a top 10 9th place in the welcome in car. So our sponsors did well. I thought the race was really exciting. I got to tip my hat to Brad Wooten. That was a great showing. And Uros Jelenko really dominated this race. Back to you, Rich.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We probably didn't talk too much about Uros Jelenko, but he obviously in winning just ran the perfect race, sat in second place for a little while and then took his chance when it became available and checked out after that. Nobody could catch him. Well, folks, it has really been a good race to call. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's almost a pity to come to the end of it. But all good things must come to an end. So in closing, we wish to thank a number of people and organizations for bringing this race to you. As always, we thank Cozy Cabins, Eagle Nest Tavern, and the Welcome Inn Bed and Breakfast for their sponsorships in this series. We appreciate them greatly. For more information about Green Valley Lake, which is labeled the best secret in California's San Bernardino Mountains, please visit www.green-valley-lake.com. We must also thank you, Bill, for bringing us this league. It's just an absolute pleasure to broadcast. We want to also thank iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, and Ava Media for providing the software and the hardware that we use for the broadcasts. Thanks also to the team, Brian, Bill, Giancarlo, and of course myself. If you would like to find out more about GSRC, our website is www.globalsimracingchannel.com. You will find broadcast schedule there, along with archive races, race highlights. We also have a Facebook channel at www.facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel. A special thank you to Eric Ekholm, who provides us with the music. You can find it not only here on GSRC, but in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and Spotify. If you do like the music, please tell Eric where you heard it at ericekholm.com. Thanks also to Casey Lalonde, who provides us with the music for the highlight videos. You can find more of his music at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com. Now, folks, the next race in the series, there's a short break of 1 week, so no racing next week in the series, but we will be at Sebring Club on March the 1st, which is 2 weeks from today. Our next broadcast will be the Roof Euro Trophy at this very track, which provided such exciting racing. And that's tomorrow at 19:15 UTC. And that'll feature the Roof track car. Next week, Saturday, the 22nd of February, we will be broadcasting round number 1 of the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series at Daytona. The start time will be 2200 UTC. A number of drivers from this very series will be in action there as well, so don't miss that one. Then on the 23rd of February at 1845 UTC, we will be showing round number 2 of the Piston Cup at Darlington Raceway featuring the Nationwide B car. Plenty of action coming up on GSRC. For converting times to your zone, we recommend www.worldtimebuddy.com. So that's it from us tonight, folks. Until then, race hard, race safely, and we will see you on the track.